Hello everyone and welcome back to another Master 1 Cyber Dragon video. Today I'm going to show you how to play through disruptions and how to beat the current Master Duel meta. Let's dive right in. The first game is against K9 Vanquish. I am going first and I did not get a good hand. I drew Power Bond, which is bad, OG is a brick, and Fua is useless going first. But let's see what we can do here. I start with Claw to try and bait whatever they might have. There's the Ash, that's fine. The plan here is to grab Overflow and to pop it with Rampage because this will put Overflow in rotation and we'll get another search this way. So we want to grab Horizon here because Horizon can search Chimera or whatever else we might need. When I activate hers here, there was a response from the opponent. What does that tell you? What do they have in this position? It has to be Bell, right? That's the only one activatable here. From their perspective, they want to save it for Worm. That's their ideal target, and they don't know what the last card in my hand is, that's why they don't use it. But now that we know they have Bell, we're going to play around that. So we add Naxter here. And Naxter can special summon, and we'll try to revive from the graveyard. They don't use it, and Yorm we're going to add Poly, and now they do use it here. If they don't, we'll have access to Heos. The whole point here is that we want to protect Worm because Worm will give us a body on the field and recycle back the Overflow. So we're ending on 3 disruptions through an Ash and Bill with that awkward hand. Let's see what they have. They start with Holly Sue. I was thinking about it for a bit. It's tricky because on one hand, you don't want them to have access to a level 5 in their hand in case they have Dracotail, but we also want to save the Infinity Negate in case we need it later. So this is why I decided to negate with Vamana here. We just kind of have to take some risks. He does have Start, and I decided to negate that because Start can protect their monsters from getting destroyed with Overflow. So this is why I negate here. Basically, the only way he would be able to continue is that if the last card is Case of K9 or Dracotail. And here I decided to pop Madlove with Overflow because I don't want him to have access to the Link one. He has no plays left, so just a trap pass. This is a game because we're going to normal summon Naxter, Naxter will revive Nova, and this will be 8k damage. They scoop it up. Now let's go to game 2. Here we are playing against Dracotail and I am going first. Looking at my hand, this is not great. I drew Power Bond and Regulus and no hand traps. If you don't know the math behind Power Bond, we are expected to draw it once every 8 games on average. But I had it in my hand almost every game, which is just so fair and balanced. But let's see what we can do here. They had Pearlia, unfortunately. This card is seeing a lot of play because of K9 Vanquish Soul, and we're taking collateral damage because of that. And he had a second one. Okay, this deck cannot win a single game without having hand traps. It's crazy how Dracotail can be labeled as a tier 1 deck just because of hand traps. So now that he had 2, I'm going to change my plans here. And that tells me that he does have a good hand and he's trying to stop me by any means necessary. So we grab Horizon here and then I'm going to go around. And he also had Ash. Okay. So now we're going to take advantage of the fact that we drew Power Bond here, and we're going to use that so that we don't give him a single draw. So now we go into Rampage, and Rampage can send Yorm. We do need Yorm here so that we can have access to heals. Having negates against Dracotail is so good because they don't have that many plays, especially after wasting 3 cards. So we pass with 2 disruptions plus follow-up. Let's see what they got. They start with Rahu, so we negate that. What else they got? Lulu, we negate also. And they scoop it up. Let's go to game 3. Here we are playing against pure K9. I am going second, and looking at my hand, this is not bad. It's not great also against this deck. They reveal this guy, so they are trying to search here Noroi, right? I decided to Ash this to cut that off, but it's always tricky with the K9 engine because they always have Izuna in their hand. So here we're going to Fua, it resolves. It's not the greatest here, they will still end on a powerful board. Okay, so they set this one. This one can go into Jax, and Jax can pop a monster on the field. And here he doesn't search X-Force Release. What does that tell you? They have it in their hand already, right? Okay, Nash Knight. Sit one pass. So this has to be X-Force Release. And then we have the other one. So those two are 3 disruptions. Nash Knight is 4, Ripper is 5, and he has Izuna in his hand that can go into something like Valon. So that's 6 disruptions at least. Let's see what we can do here. I want to go Horizon, get access to Yorm, and here we're going to go Eternity, see if he uses Ripper. He does, okay. He also wants to put Lupus in the graveyard. So now we're going to go Core, because I don't need Core here on the field, because what exactly am I going to search? So I want to use its graveyard effect here, and I want to put bodies on the field, especially with Clockwork in my hand. And he has Max C. Pretty unfortunate. Okay, he attaches. Alright. We go Claw. So here, now he's going to start drawing cards, so I want to see if he has Ash. He doesn't, but he does have Izuna. Okay. He goes into Valon. That's fine. We summon. We add back. So this is a common play that you will see here. When we go round, they're going to chain X-Force Release. But here, we are trying to bait him to use it, because we already have Clockwork in our hand. Yeah, Werewolf is going to be useless now, because I don't need my hand here. Goodbye board, and now we get Naxter. And Naxter can revive. And if he doesn't have anything, that's GG. Let's go to the next one. Here we are playing against Tearlaments. Now Tear has gone to a really sad place, abusing the Gemknight engine and the Fiendsmith engine. Brilliant Fusion is a card that should have never went to 3, and Moon should absolutely get banned. Let's see what we can do here. So I start with Ram to bait whatever he might have, no response, and we're also trying to play as much as we can around draw. So I get Core here, and now we're trying to access Horizon, and he does have Ash. Okay, pretty unfortunate. Drawing Hers, by the way, is so bad in this deck. It is unfortunate that we were not able to access Horizon to fix our hand. I go Core, and he has Herald. This shit is crazy. Abusing this also is something else, I gotta tell you that. We don't see this stuff in the TCG at all. So this is going to be really awkward here. Now I decide here to use Chimera's effect right away, because if I go link it off to try to get Clockwork and then revive it later on, what happens here is that I will be missing a level 5 body on the field, because I will have to tribute Worm. In that scenario, I would go into SP, but I would not be able to go into Nova Infinity, and of course Infinity is much more valuable here. So this is why I decided to discard the Imperm right away and not wait for Clockwork. So now we're going to a link, and you'll see what I mean here in a second. So we get Clockwork now, and we send Worm. Yeah, I sent the Hers here because we do need to get recycle back a monster. And if I revive Chimera to try to discard Clockwork, then I would not have a level 5 on the field, right? So this is why I did it that way. Things get awkward when dealing with certain hand traps like that. So now we're going to pop Clockwork, and we're going to search Regulus this way. So of course here we send Naxter and Yorm, and we're going to go into Nova, and this will give us access to heals. I equip the AG because I want to bounce it, and this will give us Seeger also on the field as a battle protection. And of course we have follow-up with Emergency going into Cyberload on the next turn. And we'll get back Power Bomb. Let's see what they got. Brilliant Fusion. We negate that and they scoop it up. Okay, let's go to the next one. In this game, I am playing against Maliss, and I am going first. My hand is pretty bad. I only have one starter. Let's see if we can make it work. So when I activate around here, there was a response from the opponent. Now sometimes players do lag, but when I see something like that, this immediately tells me that they have Ash or Purge, right? So it's something to keep in mind. I get Chimera here, and we get hit with Droll. Really unfortunate. Okay, so how can we continue here? Especially if we're thinking that they do have Ash. So I'm going to normal summon hers, and we're going to link the hers here into Night. Because if I link Chimera to send Worm, and they do have Ash, that's GG right there, right? So to play around the Ash here, we're going to revive hers and chain block. So we're going to go chain link 1 Chimera, chain link 2 hers to make it level 5 to play around that Ash. And now we send Worm, and now we can go Regulus, and now his Ash is useless. This is assuming they do have Ash, of course. And now we go in Infinity, and we have Seeger also. So this is not terrible. We have 3 disruptions, and hers here, when we detach, we can get follow-up with Core. Let's see what they got. Okay, so they start with Maliss in Underground. This is at 1, right? Okay. So you want to banish the monster that they send here, right? So that it gets stuck in the banish zone. So we negate that. So here I try to use Chimera's effect just in case they do have Ash and they decide to Ash this for whatever reason, right? They start with this guy. Okay, we just negate and destroy so he doesn't get a link here. So if he has an Adagnister monster, it's not live. And they scoop it up. Let's go to the next one. In this game, I am playing against Dracotail. I am going first, and looking at my hand, this is not great. I only have 1 starter, and we also drew Power Bond. I also like the name of my opponent. This captures the theme of Master Duel pretty well. Let's get started with Realm and see what they do. They do have Ash, so we have to use Crossout here, unfortunately. So now we're going to grab Chimera here, and with Worm, we're going to send hers. And hers will grab us Core. So here I was thinking that my opponent does have something in their hand. I just don't know what it is. It's probably Fualos or Maxx C, right? But let's see, we're gonna continue here with Knight. And we chain block just in case. Okay, he has Fualos. Pretty unfortunate. I just wish I can play against Dracotail just 1 game without them having any hand traps. Okay, so now we're gonna go Core, grab Overflow, and here he still has something in his hand. So I just cannot make any plays. So I just decided to activate Clockwork and they said 2 pass. Because if he has another Fualos, that would be really bad, right? And he has 5 mana. Okay, cool. He's gonna go Gulamel. And he targets the Overflow. So now with Overflow, we're going to search. And here, since they did this, we're going to change our plans. So now I am going to go into Rampage and pop K2 and pop Clockwork Knight as well. So we're going to give him 1 draw. I go Eternity first in case they do have Veiler, because I don't want them to target Rampage. So we pop 2. And now we can send, and Clockwork can search us Regulus. And her is going to grab us follow-up on the next turn as well. So we do have 2 negates plus follow-up, and they do have 2 cards in hand. Let's see what they do. They go battle to get rid of Regulus, activate hers, grab the Core. Okay, they go Typhon. And here they try to bounce Rampage, and we're gonna negate that. Okay, they add back. They still have 1 unknown, we don't know what that is. Now, keep in mind here that we cannot use the effect of Rampage to send because of Typhon's effect. So we need to play around that. So here, I start with Emergency, see what they have. They have nothing, so we grab Yorm. And now with Core, they do have Veiler. Okay, this is fine. We know the last card is Cartesia, so that's okay. Go into Nova. And basically, we need to get rid of Typhon so we can OTK. And also keep in mind, we only now have Naxter in the deck, okay? So we go Infinity, and now we go Seeger, and now we're gonna go. We're gonna negate this guy first, and then we're gonna go into Azalea. Just pop Typhon, and now we can use Rampage effect, attack twice, and that's GG. All right, let's go to the next one. In this one, I am playing against K9 Vanquish Soul. I am going second, and I did not get a good hand. We only have Ash, but also their hand doesn't seem good because they started with Lantern. So here I was thinking about it for a bit. It's hard to tell what they have in their hand. If they get access to Jokel and they have another level 5, they can go full combo. So this is why I decided to Ash here. Unfortunately, they do have call by. They get Izuna, so this means that they don't have access to their Vanquish Soul engine. He doesn't set X-Force release. This means that they have it in their hand, right? And they have Maxi. Okay, so how many disruptions do they have? The Ripper Negate, the X4 release, that's 3, and then Izuna with Lupus, that's going to be 4, and we have Maxi. I want to start with Claw here to try and bait Ripper. He does use it. That's good. So now we go into Horizon, grabbing Yulm. So here he can go into Nash Knight, that's fine. We're gonna activate Worm now, send hers. Add back Horizon, and hers will activate to add Core. Now remember that they use Cobalt and Ash, right? So they cannot use Ash here. And here I grab a second round. That's because if he goes Werewolf, I don't want him to banish the one round in my hand. And I don't want to set it, just in case they decide to randomly pop it, okay? So this protects us from Werewolf. He's going to pop Nova here, that's fine. I'm gonna float into Rampage. Banish Cyberload, okay. We send Naxter, and then we go grab Chimera. Basically here our main concern is them drawing into Holisu. But we have to go all in with Maxi here. So Naxter can revive Nova, and now we go into Infinity and get that protection. We contact fuse the board. Of course we cannot fuse Lupus because it will banish itself when it leaves the field. We grab Power Bond here just in case, and now we're going to attach, and this is GG. Alright, let's go to the next one. In this game I am playing against K9 Crystron. I am going first, and my hand is decent, but let's see what they have. They do have Perulia. That's unfortunate because we have to play into it and give him some draws here. But the way we do it is that we want to get everything that we want before we give him draws, just in case they drew into hand traps later on. So when I go core here, he has Ash, and I'm pretty sure he just drew it off of Perulia. That's fine, we're gonna continue with Chimera. And now that's their second draw. They're gonna get one more with Regulus, and that will be it. So we grab Regulus here, and now we can go into SP. Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2. And we're gonna go Regulus and get that protection. So here when I activate Hers effect, that was a misplay because I should not add OG from the deck, as this plays into Droll in case they did draw Droll here. So there was no reason for me to get greedy like this, but I did it anyways. Because here we needed one more search, and that search would have been Poly to have access to heals. So now we're gonna miss out on that. So we're gonna continue with Rampage. And here I keep the Hers in the graveyard because we're going to revive it here and attach it to Infinity to have it as follow-up when we detach on the next turn. I said the emergency because I do not want him to just normal summon Noroi for free. I only have one card in my hand, so they cannot normal summon the K9 cards. They start with Case, that's fine, and now we're going to draw here. We go Izuna, we negate that. Then hers activate, they have another Ash, that's fine. They scoop it up. That's it for the games. Now let me show you the deck list. The build is the same as last time, no changes here, but I do want to talk about some very important points. The first one regarding hand traps. We definitely play a lower number of hand traps compared to top tier decks. There's not really space to play more. If you want to increase it a little bit, we have to go over 40. 41 or 42 I would say is a decent option. I would not go over that because then you're gonna start breaking way too often with this deck. And the only acceptable hand traps to play here are the Malcharmies, so maybe a second Fua and one Perulia or two Fua, something like that. I would not try this unless you feel like you absolutely have to stop your opponent going second, otherwise you're losing the game. Because this will affect the consistency of the deck a little bit. and I'm not a big fan of that, but it is something to keep in mind. This brings us to the other point, which is a question that I got before. Is this deck better in the TCG or Master Duel? And the answer is it's much better in the TCG. That's because Master Duel has so many broken cards that the power level of decks here is way too high. To give you an example, if you take a deck like Yummy, Yummy is not just a broken engine, but they also have access to multiple broken cards. You have Herald of the Arclight, and then they can protect it with Sprite Elf, and then they have access to Barone or Savage. They can even play Sangan and search Maxi. There are just so many things that they can do on turn 1 that is just way too powerful and should not exist. Other decks have similar characteristics here that lead to the same thing. Turn 1 boards are way too powerful here. There is not much room for outplaying your opponent or trying to break their board and whatnot. Another reason here is the fact that we don't have a side deck and it's best of 1. So you can play against a deck like Odeon and they go first, they set 5. They all have negates. Odeon in Master Duel is essentially just a stun deck. They have Solemns, negates, that's all they have. And to top it off, they can play the Primate Engine and go into Barone as well. Pretty fun and interactive there. So you don't have a side deck to prepare going second or to at least attempt to try and go first. So overall, the skill expression in Master Duel is much lower than the TCG, and we're playing here a skill-based deck, so of course we're better off in the TCG. Those were my thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll catch you all in the next one.